Hello everyone and welcome back to another video of mine. This time I'm back with Kali Flame of Samsara season 1 episode 11, the season finale. I've heard that apparently I will kill Christian the Clay and I hope that that's not the case, but I won't know. Let's see. Sandia. And this doom is inevitable. Well, great. Damn. Episode 11, Whispers of Doom. Warning, this episode contains scenes of violence, brutality, and description of death. Please read on with caution. Well, great. Ram stepped aside, letting several Devadasi go past him. They were holding colorful fabrics in boxes decorated in vibrant patterns.
Go get changed for the ritual. You should be appropriately dressed.
Appropriately dressed? DOOBAY, when will you learn to ask nicely? I look better than most. I have to. So sorry. So sorry. Like, do you have any idea how many gems someone spent in order to get the outfit that I'm wearing right now? Hell no. You're not telling me I look stupid. Devi scoffed proudly. It was hard not to be annoyed when the DOOBAY seemed to forget that they weren't in charge of the dozen and started ordering people around. Maybe I look even more appropriate than you do. Ooh!
But of course, Shama.
Ram almost laughed at Devi's characteristic love of bickering, just for the sake of it. They both knew she was going to change in the end. Me. Like, at the end of the day, I'm just a wimp. I'm just a simp.
I just have a better idea of what to wear for the ritual.
They looked at each other one more time before the Devadasi took Devi to another room to get ready. Oh, hell no. He was like, take her away, servants. It was quiet and peaceful there. The priestesses set to work. Okay. God damn it. Ooh, to be quite honest, the yellow is also nice, but nope. I'm gonna go with the purple because it suits my makeup. Stop here, thank you. Oh gosh. Ooh. I know that they want us to go with this one, but this looks so fine too. It kind of reminds me of an outfit, or more like a hairstyle, that an old friend of ours was wearing in Song of a Crimson Nile. Deep green. Oh, now we get to change new makeup. Deep green. Okay. Let's go with gold, because that's literally what we're wearing. Okay. Durga's benevolence? Oh my god. Nope. I'm so sorry. Let's go. As she was about to leave the room, Devi caught a glimpse of herself in a mirror and froze. Huh? The Devadasi who dressed her up giggled slightly. They were amused by the reaction of the young heiress, who was clearly left speechless. Such a statistique, mature and beautiful woman, and that's me, not someone else. I truly need to live up to my image and set a good example. A lot of people look up to me. I hear about it all the time. One of my duties is not to disappoint them. I can't give up on my objectives either, of course. I won't die today. I'll do everything I can to be worthy of my name, of my family's name. As soon as they were finished, Devi went straight to the common hall. Dignity, period. You ain't taking away my dignity. She could hear more and more voices coming from there. I thought we were supposed to perform this ritual alone, as in us and Ram. Who are all of these people giggling? The hall decorated for the ritual was still not very busy. Here and there the Devadasis were rushing around, putting the finishing touches to their preparations. From a large mural occupying the entire wall, the mighty goddesses looked on, blazing with fury and radiating power. They were waiting for sacrifices and offerings. Devi had a few minutes to gather her thoughts and take her place in front of the altar. A short while later, well, great, a large number of people had gathered in the spacious room as the warm rays of the setting sun gently cascaded down the walls. One could easily tell who were the representatives of the noble families just by looking at their luxurious outfits. Among the crowd, Devi had no trouble recognizing many familiar faces. The Prasad family, the Banerjees, the Thakkurs, the Rais, the Doobays, and the Bazus were all there, followed by everyone else. The heirs arrived one after the other to pay their respects to Durga. Raj was talking to someone from the Mahanyi family. Not far away from them, Mohan Prasad greeted the twins with a slight bow. Saraswati and Radha stood at the front, exchanging worried glances and whispering to each other. Next to them, Doran was busy in a conversation with Vidya.
Do you think so? One would have to be pretty foolish not to realize that.
For just a moment, the man's amber cat-like eyes shifted from his older sister to Devi. Aren't we like somewhere immersed in the crowd? How is he capable to find us? This man has eyes on his bag, y'all. Their mutual gaze only lasted a moment. Doran thinks you're a woman of extraordinary beauty. Well, thank you, sir. I'm pretty sure the price of the diamonds was also extraordinary high. An almost imperceptible smile twitched on his lips, but it was immediately gone as soon as the man returned to his conversation. I'm sorry, but this man literally gives off sugar daddy vibes, and this is like the kind of sugar daddy vibes that I can actually condone to. Y'all imagine, y'all, I feel like I'm gonna do something like Lena Gilbert from the Vampire Diaries. I feel like I'm gonna swatch the younger brother with the older one. No! Everyone present was trying to look confident and calm, ignoring the slightly tense atmosphere in the city. Some were complaining about the intense grunty people were receiving from the British officers who were patrolling the streets and nearby temples. They were clearly trying to find out where exactly was the Dozen planning to gather. Forget it, bitch, like, we're gonna take our secrets to the grave. It was obvious that the rituals would go ahead and no one was going to neglect such an important event as Durga Puja. The only question was in which temple. Soon they would know, but the Dozen had at least a couple of hours to get everything done. Anticipating the celebration, ready to praise Durga, everyone in the crowd seemed a little restless and yet excited at the same time. Devi's uncle appeared next to her. He immediately turned to the young woman. Path of Passion.
My dear niece, you've already taken the Sharma's place by the altar.
Of course. And? To be honest. That's something I would do. And? Something else you'd like to add? Something else you'd like to say, son?
I must admit that I thought we would take our place together, since the head of the family has not been determined yet, but you've come here and done everything on your own.
Yes. Who are you to say something? I'm sorry, like, this bitch is getting on my goddamn nerves. Who is this man to say something here? Who is this man to actually say something? He has never been there. He's never been present. Our brother has been killed 4 years ago, and this man only showed up right at the second where we're about to claim our rightful place on the throne as the head of the Sharma family? This man is coming 4 years too late in my eyes. I hate people that literally just scam others. Like, this man has done nothing in order to earn the rightful place as being the head of the Sharma family. We're the third most powerful family in that damn dozen. This man has done nothing in order to earn his place as the head of the third most powerful family of the dozen. Who is this man to come in here and say something? You should have arrived earlier then. Is there a problem? Period. Who are you? And we're not talking about coming early today. We're talking about coming earlier when your nephew was murdered. You know? Devi turned to her uncle. Her eyes stagged. Oh, I love her. Me, girl. Fry him at the spot. Devi turned to her uncle, her eyes staring daggers in his direction. Anil shook his head briefly and looked away embarrassed. Exactly. You shy away like the little bitch you are.
No.
That's right. Avert your eyes. Oh, you better not make me angry, especially not today. Not today, son. We're already very heated because we know that we're supposed to die. Devi turned to the twins. Radha looked stiff. She was hiding her growing stomach under dark fabric and occasionally glancing at Raj. To be quite honest, I want to literally smack Raj across the face because because of 1 second of action, Radha is the one being cursed for 9 months. I fucking hate it. And because of the fact that men don't really grow anything, that actually shows that they already had sexual intercourse with someone. No one will know who that baby comes from. So that means that he literally will be... he will have no consequences to deal with. I fucking hate that. Oh my god. Oh, she looks so pretty though. I want to smack him so badly. Is there an option that I can smack Amrita? Yeah. A new friend of mine in my comments section already told me that Amrita and Raj are gonna be Amrit's grandparents. They're gonna be the reason that the love of my life will be born in the first place. Does not excuse this bitch's attitude. It does not. I have no sympathy for Raj. Like, he needs to shove it. He needs to suck it. The plot of that silent scene seemed clear to anyone who was even slightly privy to its details.
To provide some kind of assistance for the resolution of this case. Of course, Mr. Maharan.
Zara moved closer to Davy and whispered annoyed, "Me girl." Then she went, "Ooh, she looks gorgeous. She really looks gorgeous. She should have her hair down more often, y'all."
It's sickening to even watch this.
Me! Love makes us careless and foolish. No, because literally the only one that has to pay with the consequences is Radha, because she's the only one that can actually get pregnant. Raj is not the one getting pregnant, so he's literally out of it all. He has nothing to worry about.
And that's an unacceptable luxury in our position. Anyone else, Devi, but not us.
Didn't you say that there's nothing one can do about it? Feelings are feelings. Sarah grinned briefly, but her gaze remained glassy, as if fixed on one point in the distance. She kept talking, but it almost felt as if she was lost in a deep daydream.
That's the hardest thing in life, getting ruined by something you have no control over.
Feelings. Feelings is literally the only thing you can control. I love that.
Even if you're the master of the whole world, one single person has the power to take over all your thoughts, heart and soul. Love can bring an empire to its knees. Or a powerful family.
Do you think Radha will destroy your family? Sarah shrugged.
Not only our family, but the whole dozen. And it's not going to be just Radha. Both of them, Raj too. They are already dead. It's not their fault, but think about it. The union of the DOOBAY and Basu families was destined to happen later for a reason. It marks the beginning of Kali Yuga. As long as Satya was going on, the transition period, we had time to live and prepare, but their love took all of that away from us. It's going to start early. I can feel it.
To be quite honest, there is just this thought I had in my head. Is there a reason why Mahakali spoke through Sarah? Is she perhaps spiritually more awakened than her older sister? Sarah's confidence waned, and her voice trembled. She was thinking it all through in a reasonable way, but she was also frightened about it, as anyone else would have been. Support her. We're a friend. Devi gently put her hand on Saraswati's shoulder, caressing it soothingly as a sign of support. I respect your honesty. Even if Radha is your sister, you can look at the situation in an objective way. To be quite honest, it doesn't necessarily have to mean objective way. She's just honest. She sees the signs, she sees the facts, and she's like, well, she screwed up. What can I do? It's a fact. She's not hiding it.
I would die for her, Devi, if I had to. But my love for her doesn't make me blind to how reckless they were in allowing this baby to be conceived.
Me.
It could have been anyone, but it had to be Raj and Radha falling in love.
It could have been anyone, but it was Amala and Amrit falling in love. I know. It's later on, but still. Sarah sighed, moving slightly closer to Devi, accepting her support. Maybe this was Mahakali's plan. She's never wrong, is she?
Then all the predictions made by the DOOBAYs, Brahims, are completely nonsense.
Why am I not surprised to hear that from Aspazu?
No one else would dare say it but us.
Period. She's like, who am I to fear the DOOBAYs? If we are being honest, I think the hostility between your mother and Raj is getting out of control. If there is a fracture within the dozen, we will all kill each other. Saraswati shrugged and raised her head toward the ceiling, looking at the murals depicting the 10 incarnations of the goddess.
That's nothing compared to what lies ahead, but with you two girls, it doesn't seem so scary, or at least it is a little less scary.
Sarah smiled and Devi felt slightly calmer too. Saraswati appreciates you very much. Oh,
am I frightening you?
Baby, why would you think that? No, on the contrary. I respect her. I truly am. Because in general, like, if you guys want my honest opinion about this, what she said in the last episode about the fact that she has like this darkness, it's normal. Every human being has it, but a lot of people are too scared to admit it to themselves and to say it out loud, as in to admit it to other people. Because admitting it to other people makes the realization hit. The realization hits you even more after that. And a lot of people don't want to hear the truth because the truth hurts. And that's exactly what's happening. She is honest. She said, yeah, I have this dark side to me and it's not what everyone wants me to be. And I'm scared of what that could turn me into if I allow that negativity to continue luring around. But it will always be there. Like, it's part of who she is and it's part of every single human being. We all have this darkness inside of us. Some shows it more, some shows it less. And that's like this darkness that I talked about in every human being. Like, the reason why those goody two-shoes fall in love with like the bad boy is not because of no reason. We find attractive the fact that they are capable to be more themselves. Like, everyone has good and negative personality traits, and the bad boys are the ones that show their negative personality traits more, or in general, they're capable to show, or they allow themselves to show their negative personality traits, while the goody two-shoes don't show the negative personality traits at all. So considering the fact that they don't show it, they're looking for that negativity in other people. They hope that the negative, or more like the influence of the person that is openly showing all of their facades, as in positive and negative personality traits, could enhance their will to finally be themselves as well. After a while, it was time for the ritual to begin. Ram approached the altar. Ooh. He seemed calm. His different colored eyes looked intently at the crowd, and everyone quieted down in an instant. The smoke of incense slowly enveloped his tall silhouette. In those brief moments, Ram almost looked like a deity, calm, silent, majestic. He never raised his voice. As soon as he spoke, everyone around him went immediately quiet. From far away, at the very end of the hall, Ratan watched him silently. He's not having it. Oh God, he's so pissed at him. God damn it, Ratan.
Absolutely happiness among all happiness, O benevolent one. All goals are attainable through you, O refuge, three-eyed and pure, O Naryani. We bow to you.
Ram raised his hands and everyone around him bowed their heads in obedience to his invocation to the goddess Durga.
O form of Brahman, ever benevolent one, you are the embodiment of supreme bliss. Grant us perfection, O goddess. O Narvani, we bow to you.
Everyone straightened up and bowed again.
The one striving to protect the helpless and those suffering. O reliever of the pain of all the living beings. O Narvani, we bow to you.
The rustling of expensive clothes swept through the hall once again. Another bow.
May we comprehend the one born by the mountains. Let us meditate on Shiva's beloved. May the elusive Durga guide us.
Great Durga. Invincible Durga. Ever benevolent Durga. Everyone repeated the mantra. The prayer didn't last very long. Ram was followed by Vidya and Raj, who continued to worship the goddess for the sake of symbolism. The whole world and its laws were subject to Durga, but it was by the hands of the heirs of the ruling families that she expressed her will, and it was up to them to continue the ritual. The Rita Shiva was going to be the one bringing it to a close. Before leaving, Ram found Devi in the crowd and gave her a sign. Is he hinting that it's time we leave? Not briefly. Blink. Smirk. Not briefly. Davy nodded slightly, showing that she understood him. The time had come for the most important ritual of that day. They understood each other. Ram quietly left the altar, and Rashtubai and Vidyabazu took his place. I don't think that smiling would have helped in that situation. We needed to show him that we understood. As Devi was about to leave to follow the younger Dubai, Saraswati sharply grabbed her wrist.
Devi.
Huh? Devi was startled for a moment, thinking that Saraswati was trying to stop her, but the young woman was looking in a completely different direction.
It's her. Look, it's her. That's right, I did see her at our house.
The maid? Her friend pointed toward one of the women standing against the wall. She didn't look like a Devadazi, so probably she worked for one of the noble families that were in attendance. Oh, Who? Oh,
short hair, a gold bracelet, and a nose ring.
Sarah had already lunged forward. Davy tried to catch her arm, but Sarah only yanked her hand away, annoyed.
What's the matter?
Wait, don't be reckless. Let's get her out of here. You want to jump her in front of all of these people? I don't think that's gonna be good, girl. Especially not if you don't want that little bitch to be reckless and to actually spill that your sister Radha is pregnant with Raj's child. You can't grab her right here, can you? That's only going to raise questions. We can take her somewhere quiet and do whatever we want. She will regret how much grief she caused us.
I want to deal with her. She deserves to be punished.
Here? Right here? In this very hall? Saraswati!
No, but I have no intention of letting her get away again.
Who said we're gonna let her get away? But we're not gonna jump in front of all of these people. You know how these bitches work? She won't mind spilling the secrets. David nodded and began to feel nervous at the thought that time was slipping through her fingers. She needed to hurry to meet Ram. What bad timing. Let's do this. I'll step away for a moment and you find out who she works for. Maybe even follow her. But don't be foolish, okay? Don't do anything yet. We'll deal with it together.
Don't tell me what to do, but I'll try to control my temper.
After a moment, Devi cautiously left the common hall, turning to look at Saraswati one last time. But she was already gone, and so was the maid. That little bitch. Devi could not spare any more time worrying about Saraswati. She trusted that she would be prudent and slipped into the other ritual hall. Ram had prepared all that they needed and was already waiting for her at the altar. The man turned around when he heard her footsteps. The moment they had both dreaded and looked forward to had finally arrived. The moment they were destined to experience together, the two of them. Ram was going to take responsibility for Devi, possibly even for her destiny, being the conduit between her and the goddess Kali. As he looked at her, he smiled slightly in greeting and then asked,
Are you ready?
I feel so bad for him because he wanted to spare off of all this grief, all the sadness, approach him. Although Devi was anxious about the upcoming ritual, she still tried not to show it too much. She was more or less capable of hiding her feelings around the other members of the dozen, but not Ram. He was hard to deal with, maybe because he had been with her from the very beginning of her predicament. She took a step toward him. He was studying her. Devi felt his gaze going through her. She knew Ram was trying to guess what she was thinking at that moment. Then his resounding voice echoed throughout the stone walls of the hall.
Nothing will ever be the same again. And who knows what will happen at all.
Ram took a few steps toward her and came so close that Devi's heart started beating a little faster. He took her hand in his and brought it to his lips, keeping his shimmering green-gray eyes on her. Devi hesitated for a moment and then said the words that were expected from her, even though they were not what she wanted. All we have to do is accept the will of the goddess. I can't run away from my fate a second time. On her last words, Devi's voice quivered treacherously. She gave Ram a faint, strained smile. He won't be fooled by that, girl. Yeah. But to be quite honest, what can you do? Apparently, fate caught up with her and wants to bite her in the ass again. She can't run away. That's literally the truth. He understands everything. Of course, he's not stupid. And apparently, he's also older than us. Like he said, he's in his late 20s. We're in our early 20s. We're 23. Noticing how distressed she was, he closed his eyes and then slowly began kissing her fingers. He's such a good guy. Like, I have a lot of haters of Ram in my comment section. I don't understand why. Like, a lot of people said that they have the feeling that we're the other side piece, but in general, I think a lot of people should learn to, like, blend that out. In general, we are all destined to be with Christian the Clare. Like, we can choose whether we want to be with him or not. And if that's not a thing, it's all just an arranged marriage. They all will want to fight for us. Every one of them will want to fight for us. Whether it's Kamal, Saraswati, or Christian the Clare himself. But this is like, with Christian the Clare, it's like the main plot of the story. That we need to be with him. Whether we develop feelings for him or not is our own doing. And a lot of people are like, yeah, I have the feeling I will be the side piece. In general, with everyone that you choose besides Christian the Clare, we will be the side piece. Because the main storyline is that you have to be married off to Christian the Clare. If you go with this man's romance path or not is up to you. And if you're not, you will always be kind of like the mistress of both of them. Like, you will be the mistress, just to give like an example. You will be Christian's wife, and you will be Saraswati's mistress, because she's also gonna be married off. The same will be with Ram now, and the same is with Radha. I know she's not a love interest, but so that you all get the picture. Like, everyone in the Dozen is being married off. No matter which love interest you will choose besides Christian the Clare, you will be the side piece, and that's inevitable. To be quite honest, I would actually like to hear a different reason why a lot of people are dumping on Ram, because it's not the first time I've read some hate comments about this man. Like, and this is not like me hating on the people that actually didn't choose Ram, because everyone has like this like and dislikes, and sometimes we can't even actually explain why we decide to go with one love interest. Me, for example, I decided to go with Ram. A lot of people decided to go with Christian or Kamal. I already said my opinion about Kamal. Like, everyone has the right to like choose their love interests and everything. But in my eyes, I'm actually intrigued to know why a lot of people didn't choose Ram. Just because they have the feeling to be the side piece. Because in general, you will be the side piece if you date anyone besides Christian the Clare. The touch of his warm, soft lips on her hand made it even harder for Davy to breathe in that already stuffy room. Davy noticed that his eyelashes were trembling. He's about to cry. He's nervous as well, but once again he tries to reassure me first, even though he could use some support himself. Are we seeing this pure-hearted man? He deserves all the love in the world. Davy felt her tension gradually fade away. She wanted to follow her feelings. Like, to be quite honest, are we seeing what this man is doing? Like, he's literally so caring. He's neglecting his own feelings, trying to put aside his own fear, his own anxiety in order to comfort us and in order to give us the reassurance that we need. That's real love. When you're actually capable to, like, put your own feelings aside in order to help the person you love. She wanted to follow her feelings too. Casting all shyness aside, she stood on her tiptoes, snuggled against him, her whole body pressed against his, and reached for his lips. Ram leaned toward her, responding to her desire to be close. I don't think that you have the time to actually be making out passionately right here. You need to perform that damn ritual. They kissed each other gently and yet desperately at the same time, as only doomed lovers can kiss. He was with her right at that moment, sharing her pain and fear. Would that have been possible if what they had was fleeting? When Mother's plans for Davy's fate had become clear, he had still remained by her side. He always chose her, no matter what. That! Give it to the viewers! It was more than just attraction. They had each other. The rest was no longer important. Ram pressed his cheek to her head, holding her tight in his embrace sensual and tender, then whispered softly in a husky voice,
I'll be with you no matter what.
I love him. Like, in this story, this is my man. Davy also replied in a whisper almost to herself, I know. Being able to support each other means a lot to both of you. We have no other choice. All we can do is face our destiny. It is easier for me to accept whatever will be if I think about it this way. As she settled thanks to Ram right in front of the altar, Devi took a deep breath in, and then one out. The moment had come.
Can you feel it?
My head!
She is near. We'll call upon her so that the Dark Mother can reveal herself and express her will. She is close, very close.
The flame of the dozens of candles slid around them, trembled, and the shadows on the painted walls started dancing. And then 3 were in that hall. Uh-oh. Meanwhile, Rash and Vidya stood silently on the pedestal near the altar and gazed into the hall. A feeling of joy and accomplishment filled the air as the ritual concluded. Vidya looked through the crowd, searching for her daughters, but spotted only one of them. Those who had been worshipping the goddess gathered around, chatting among themselves. Haha.
Now things are back on track and it's not upon to us anymore.
And the same to you. Nice to see you.
Despite the festive atmosphere, the tension was palpable. It was undoubtedly because of the hostility between the 2 main families. Everything was hidden behind polite conversation, fake displays of respect, or discussions of everyday business. The fracture between 2 families was growing deeper and dividing the dozen like never before. To be quite honest, I don't understand why. Let's just go with the goddess. I don't understand why Goddess Kali thought it was such a good idea to unite the Doobays and the Bazoo families in this like supernatural attraction bond when we can see how much they hate each other. Vidya and Rash were very careful not to confront each other directly, but everyone understood the situation perfectly well. There was a traitor among their people, and this sort of thing always started at the top. Distrust and suspicion, like stealthy but strong vines, crept and grew, entangling every family and every member of the dozen, forcing them to choose a side. The fracture had already deeply affected the Rai family. Kamal openly showed support for Vidya. Amrita, however, like any faithful wife, was completely on the side of her future husband. If 2 siblings of the same blood were forced on opposite sides, what could be expected from the others in that situation? The members of the dozen smiled politely at one another, while secretly wishing they could cut each other's throats. Well, damn. Rash decided to interrupt the long silence. I mean, at least stay honest.
Is something bothering you? You look tense.
Vidya glared daggers at him without uttering a word. She remembered Miss Sharma's warning, and that made her heart feel uneasy. Rash didn't insist, considering it to be just her usual arrogance. Vidya was Vidya after all. Ram Dubai's keen interest in Devi's headaches also worried Vidya. Vidya is increasingly distrustful of the Dubais, in part because of you. Well, damn. My fault. Rash just shrugged his shoulders slightly.
Why do you care about how I look all of a sudden?
You never know. These are difficult times. Maybe you're not feeling well, or maybe you're not telling me something.
Mind your words. I might think that something is wrong. Besides, Rash, you're basically family to me now. How can we possibly keep secrets from each other?
Ooh! Every word she uttered oozed venom. Rash clenched his jaw tightly. Yeah, she knows about the baby.
You know, anything can happen anytime, really.
Do you have reliable information?
I have a lot of experience, and I rely on my gut feeling.
Radha, a frail and petite woman, was the only one who stood between the Dubais and the Bazoos, as she felt equally tied to both. Well, under her heart she was carrying Rash's flesh and blood, the man she loved and trusted no matter what, ready to follow him even to the end of the earth if he called. On her other side stood her family, the woman she had grown up with, who had taught her everything she knew and given her everything she had. It was unbearably painful for her to see what she loved crumbling before her eyes. The society in which Radha had grown up was destroying itself. The young woman turned around to call out to her sister or Devi, but neither of them was anywhere to be seen. Well, not us leaving poor Radha here alone on her own. The heavy smoke carrying the earthy scent of incense clouded her vision. She was beginning to feel frightened by the clear sensation that someone else was there. What happened in Saraswati's bedroom flashed through her mind again. Ram saw her lips tremble. She was kneeling beside him, facing the altar and its many offerings. She was doing as he told her, but she was shaking with tension. There was a small cut on her palm. A trickle of scarlet blood dripped from it, staining the cold surface of the altar. It was a payment for the chance to communicate with Ma Kali. The hall that carried her name was occupied, and Ram couldn't ask for it to be vacated without arousing suspicions, so they were in the hall of Sinimasta, one of the incarnations of the many-faced goddess. It was a self-decapitating goddess who embodied immense spontaneity, freedom, and insight, the ability to see.
Close your eyes. Do not fear her, Devi. Accept her presence. Do not reject the Dark Mother. She needs you, and you need her.
Each of those goddesses represented one of the many dark sides of the feminine energy Shakti. Chinamasti, Kali, and Durga were all parts of a greater ununified whole. Shivers coursed through Devi's entire body, growing stronger with every passing moment. Her intense headache made it hard to focus properly as she tried to get it under control and calm down, ignored it, simply accepted it. We're gonna accept it.
Simply accepted it. She closed her eyes, feeling almost feverish because of the pain. It was impossible to ignore or detach herself from the headache, but Devi didn't even try. She simply accepted that torture is an unpleasant feeling. Could not be me. As difficult and painful as it was, Devi knew there was a reason for it. That was the call of Ma Kali, and she had found the strength to welcome it. Ram's deep, beautiful voice filled the hall with dignity.
This whole universe was bound by you. This world was created by you. In the end, you always devoured. You manifest as a destructive force. Dark Mother, Mother of Strife, Mother of Time.
I always get like this melancholic feeling. I remember the first time I read this in Kali Call of Darkness.
You're the greatest night of final dissolution and the terrible night of delusion. You're fearsome, you're the supreme ruler. It is our main duty to serve you. Help your children, O multiplicated one. Grant them the ability to heed your call and do your will.
Show me what you want. I'm open to you, even if the language you speak is the one of pain. They both suddenly felt sweat beading on their skin. The shadows on the walls, flickering from the faint flames of the candles, began to merge into a single larger one, which didn't belong to either of them. It was her. Two burning eyes, whose brightness not even the thick smoke could obfuscate, appeared right on the wall, bringing the shadow to life. Huh?
She's here, the Dark Mother.
The shadow swifted slightly, and soft feminine curves, the outline of a head with long hair and a pointed tiara appeared, just as Mahakali had been depicted in many fur shows and paintings. Some were far away, as if not in that room at all, but in her head Devi began to hear a whisper. The voice was saying something softly and insidiously, but she couldn't understand any of the words. Devi was afraid to speak up and interfere with the process. She wanted to remain a witness, not a participant in what was happening. She quietly turned to look at Ram, trying not to show how frightened she was. God, he's listening to her, communicating. It would be nice if we knew what she's saying as well. The shadow of the goddess sat on the wall like a living creature, stalking, ready to leap at its prey. But there would have been no reason for her to attack Ram and Devi, as they were her own children, her followers who honored her name and their cold descendants of those who had founded it. Here they are, all my answers. I may never have another chance like this. Speak to Mahakali. Devi, obeying an inexplicable impulse, squeezed her hand where she had cut herself. She bit her lips lightly at the sharp pain, but that sting paled in comparison to how her entire body was aching due to the pervasive feeling of the goddess' presence. Devi wanted to squeeze out more blood to pay honestly for that conversation. Ram doesn't seem to need to say anything out loud to communicate with her. That means neither do I. The universe and this world were born by her. Does the Dark Mother need words to be spoken in order to hear her children's call? Ram was sitting by her side, silently reciting the Tantra. Meanwhile, Devi lowered her head, closing her eyes again, and addressed the mother of all things. God damn it. Guide me, Mahadevi. Tell me what I should do. Why is my death necessary? Tell me what is your will, and I will die for you if that's your wish. She is so scared, she's crying. Devi could have sworn that the air next to her trembled. She heard the barely audible sound of bare feet touching the stone floor. Ram was still focused on the tantra. Someone else's breath, weightless but clearly perceptible, sent goosebumps rippling across Devia's skin. She couldn't open her eyes, she couldn't say a word, or be afraid, or run away.
Death is the only first step. Death is the whole meaning of life, the end and the beginning of the cycle.
Her voice. She's talking to me. She couldn't have described that voice in any specific or understandable way. It had no tone, timbre, or inflection. Devi wasn't even sure she could really hear it, but the words in her head sounded very clear, like a curse or a spell. They were impossible to ignore.
Only by knowing death can one become someone who knows the world, who knows life, and who will lead the people.
She whispered.
Sandhya and this doom are inevitable.
The Dark Mother's voice faded in Devi's mind, and she opened her eyes. As the words spoken by the goddess sank in, Devi seemed to lose all self-control. She probably shook herself off and turned around, as if hoping to see Mahakali still by her side, and inundate her with questions. She gone. No one was next to her, only Ram humbling reciting the tantra. Death, world, life, lead the people. Is this why I have to die? You reached out to the Dark Mother and she answered you. Okay, Ram frowned. Then his expression relaxed. He was thinking about something only he could hear. Something inaccessible to Devi. Suddenly he froze, opening his eyes abruptly. He jerked his head up and reached for the wall as if he wanted to touch Mahakali. Oh God, he's scared. He's petrified. What does she have in mind with us? Do we need to die an honorable death? Someone needs to slash her throat? Devi flinched when she heard the distant voice again. She's trying to make out the words. It was getting louder, and the whispering was getting clearer. Devi was close to being able to understand the words.
Will you protect?
Protect.
Look, child.
Instead of words, an image suddenly flashed before her eyes. Fire, chaos, and people fighting everywhere. And in the center of it, a woman standing with her back to Devi. What? What is this? Oh God. Oh no. Will we have a fight again there? Oh, that's us. Oh, that's us. She turned around slowly to reveal her face. That's me. The vision vanished as quickly as it had appeared. Devi blinked a few times, trying to come to her senses. All the candles suddenly went out, the murmur of the voice vanished, and the frenzied, intense energy that had enveloped the entire hall faded away. Until that moment, Devi hadn't even noticed how that flow of energy had filled her to the brim. But then, as she was left alone with Ram, she felt empty and exhausted. Her head started spinning, and Devi fell onto her side. Ram, I can't see.
Hold on, don't lose consciousness.
Too late. Screams and banging suddenly came from the hallway. Ram's arms caught Devia as she fainted, stopping her from hitting the floor. What's wrong? What's going on? Oh, hell no! Who destroyed that beautiful altar? She woke up in a corner, carefully hidden behind a flower pot. Her weapon given to her by Doran earlier was laid next to her. What's happening? Where am I? The commotion, the shouts, and the bright glow of a fire inside the hall forced Devi to instantly pull herself together and forget about the ritual. She stood up, trying to understand what was happening. Ooh!
Get out, you'll pay for this, you foolish creatures.
Ha ha ha!
We are already paying for it, don't protect our DOOBAY.
Oh, hell no!
Are you out of your mind?
What's going on? Oh my gosh, hold on. Like, we know that we are the ones that, recited the Tantra and we're the ones talking to the Dark Mother. But considering the fact that Mahakali is like the goddess of every single family of the Dozen, is it possible that what we saw, like the vision that we got from Mahakali, or perhaps the words that Mahakali whispered to Ram, is it possible that the other members of the Dozen as well saw and heard that? Because if it is, they may think that we will be the cause of this and they're about to kill us. Nice. The temple was filled with screams, agitated voices, and the clang of clashing blades. Davy couldn't have mistaken it for anything else. It was another attack. Did Ram pull her to safety? Where did he get her new weapon? Did he know everything, or was he warned by Mahakali during the ritual? What did those men want from Davy? They had come there for her, hadn't they? Looking for her? Alright, they want to kill us again. Davy clutched the kanda in her hand, stood up, and stepped out from behind the flower pot. Next to Ram, Kamal was also there.
You foolish dogs. You don't deserve your place in the dozen.
Period.
Don't force us to fight you.
They're actually the members of the dozen that betrayed every one of us. Okay. The Dixit here held up his saber, addressing the rest of the attackers.
Isn't Doran looking for the traitor? Why are you protecting her, Kamal?
Excuse me? You calling me a traitor?
Yes, and he knows it's not a young woman.
Ooh! Several of the men of the dozen had stepped inside. The entire altar had been torn apart, and the bright light of a flame burning somewhere was dancing on the wall.
Who gave you this idea? We were honoring the goddess here, not organizing an attack.
Dixit waved his hand, pointing at the entire hall with a wide gesture.
Two of you disappeared right as someone told the British about the first sacrifice, and then they rushed to attack us.
Attack us? Is the temple really being attacked? This will be the last straw for the dozen. This will start a war. How did Lord Declare allow it to happen?
So who is the traitor if only the two of you were missing from the hall? I don't think it's you. You're a DOOBAY and a Brime, but that one.
Excuse me?
She and Saraswati are always together.
Excuse me? Not all these bitches being homophobic in front of my ass. Not them being homophobic, really? That's your reason for thinking that I'm the reason? That's your reason? Thinking that I have something with Saraswati is the reason you think I'm responsible for a massacre? God damn it, like these bitches need to die.
To protecting a traitor. She has been in league with the British for a long time, don't you care?
Excuse me? Me? A traitor? As the man spotted Davy, his eyes opened wider with excitement. Right, because he can kill us now. He jabbed his finger at her and shouted.
There she is, the Lord's bride and accomplice. She's friends with the younger Basu and supports Vidya. It's clear now that the lioness is behind everything, not the tiger.
Huh?
It was obvious from the beginning that the little girl had no place at the head of a family.
You see, sexism and homophobic asses. What have I gotten myself into here? Who do I need to kill?
Who insisted on it? Vidya and Declare.
If you come near me, I'll kill you on the spot. Me, are you out of your mind? No, if you come near me, I'll kill you. Like, I'm not joking. Davy gripped her saber tighter, looking angrily into the face of that man she once respected. In fact, he turned out to be nothing but a coward, like many others. I have not only been trained to manage my family's affairs, but also to handle weapons. If you make a move, I'll take your head off.
Oh, Miss Sharma, is that how you're speaking now?
Mr. Dixit, how is it? How is it going on the lower side of things? How will you live without a Dixon? There were 6 or 7 of them, all looking at Davy with hostility and greed. Behind their need for revenge was a desire to find someone to blame for all the misfortune that had fallen on them. Never blame yourself for being bitches. Right, a desire to stop suspecting each other to get some closure. It was easier to point at the one who was the reason for many of the changes that had happened in the usual order of society rather than to take the difficult path, to analyze, to search, to wait.
Move aside, DOOBAY, she's ours.
I'm yours! Let me fucking massacre them all! Where is Mahakali when you need them? Where is Mahakali when you need her? Like, babe, allow them to just kill each other. We remember the season 3 finale in Kali Call of Darkness is if people used weapons, she actually killed them with just one swift motion of her hand. Like, do that again, girl. I know you're here. Without a moment of hesitation, in 2 steps, Doran was beside Davy, his arm in front of her. He hissed, "Ooh!
Try me.
Period. Period. He mine." Kamal, who had been silently watching their argument all this time, only pressed his lips in a thin line. Because he knows. He walked toward Davia with slow and heavy steps. He stood beside her like a stone wall, looking sternly at everyone present.
She's under my care. I won't hesitate to kill anyone who tries to point a savior in her direction.
Okay, Kamal. Kamal is a little bitch, but I have respect for Kamal here. Perhaps he's just an overbearing, annoying older brother. I have respect for him here because you can see he truly cares here. Even if he has a stupid way of showing it, you can see that he cares. Suddenly, Davy heard a rustle behind her back and turned around sharply. Doran Bazu had appeared on the ledge of the wall like a cat on the prowl. He strode silently along it and crouched carefully, a bitter smirk on his lips. He was looking down from above, seemingly calm and even a little bored. He said, "Am I too late to join the party?" God damn it. To be quite honest, like Doran Bazu slay me, I may be changing to him.
A great deal of blood is about to be spilled.
And he be living his best life, huh? Ooh! Are we seeing this fine-ass picture? Oh my gosh, are we seeing how hot Doran is? God damn it. We just look stunning, y'all, with that attire. Devi stood there, half turned toward him, anxious and distraught. Those she had considered her people and whose interests she had been willing to protect had turned against her. That thought unsettled her so much that it made her question not only her choices, but also all the other beliefs she had held her entire life. But right at that moment, 3 powerful and strong men were all there by her side. She could rely on them.
I'm being serious. You better leave. Come to your senses. You're being foolish. Magali has her own plans for this woman. I won't let you go against her will. Well, or do what you want and die here.
Doran is just living his best life. He's just waiting for them to come closer. He is like, "Come, kitty, fetch." He spoke up about the danger at the last meeting, so Doran and Kamal came to help you. Stop. Cute. The men of the dozen standing in front of them started hesitating. They were in a larger group, but they were faced with Kamal, Rai, and Doran Basu, the bear and the executioner. Yeah, that's a nice name for him, huh? With that cut on his face. Kamal was a man of honor, but he had given his warning. He was not going to hesitate to kill, or at least wound them, even though they were people he knew. It was pointless to hope for any mercy from the executioner, and I'm living for the executioner. He was going to slaughter them all without a second thought. He never spared anyone. I love him for it, to be quite honest, yes. Like, slaughter their asses, kick them, make them pay for being such little bitches. And touching Ram DOOBAY was a scary prospect on its own, a mortal near and dear to the Dark Mother. If his blood were to be spilled, she could kill them all, period. Touch Ram, y'all. Hey, you little bitches, touch Ram. Touch Ram. Try it. Let the Dark Mother come and bitch slap all of you. Still, it was impossible for them to retreat. Their certainty that Davy was to blame for everything was only growing stronger by the minute. Ah, those little bitches. That's why you're single.
Run quickly, find Sarah before the others do. She's in danger too.
But why Sarah? Davy needed to move to the right to leave the hall quickly and sneak out into the corridor. It was going to be easier to hide there and get lost in the crowd. In just a moment, a bloody fight was going to begin. She rushed ahead. Hello.
Entschuldigung, dass ich stört an deinen Döner. Absicht, dass der Hause rumliegt?
Oh.
Oder soll der Kühlschrank?
Der soll in den Kühlschrank, es waren ja 2 drin.
Okay.
Without thinking twice, Davy launched forward, drawing her kanda. Unfortunately, she was not strong enough to fight 6 warriors all at once. It was as if she had jumped into the arms of death. To the wall. To the left. Nice. She nearly bumped into the flower standing next to the altar. The door was in the other direction. Davy's sudden movement set off the carnage. Sometimes stress can lead to mistakes. I'm so sorry. Davy rushed to the side without thinking about anything or turning around. She found herself near the door and sprinted out, leaving the cramped hall behind her. So sorry. It's just always funny to see how they make you die, you know? And then they make you jump back. Screams, the sounds of blood being spilled, and the clang of blades filled the temple, turning it into a place of carnage. In the midst of such chaos, it was impossible to distinguish between friends and foes. Once again, Davy found herself in the center of a frenzied crowd. Some were fighting, some were trying to escape, and some were left bleeding from their wounds. Possibly the British might have not even wanted to start the fight so soon. They might have arrived at the temple to disperse everyone, but the tense dozen, embittered by its internal struggles, resisted. Disobedience was punished very harshly, so fighting and conflict were never too far away. David didn't know who had started first, but in the confusion, it didn't even matter to her anymore. The only thing on her mind was saving her loved ones and surviving. Every now and then she could see unfamiliar people in the crowd. They didn't look like British officers or any of the dozen or local visitors of the temple. Memories of the fire at the mountain residence flashed through her mind. Once again death, once again pain, and once again chaos, as promised. What will happen to Ram? In a corner, Devi spotted Radha. Oh gosh, girl. The young woman looked petrified by fear. Her confused gaze was running through the madness of the crowd, trying to find a single familiar face. I feel so bad for her, and she's pregnant too. She needed to get to her mother or her uncle somehow. So they could run away together. Vidya's voice echoed from the opposite side of the temple. She was waving to her daughter with both hands.
Radha, come here. We are here.
Oh gosh. Yo, don't make her die, please. Doran, having already dealt with the men in the other hall, rushed to defend his family, scattering enemies around him like a lion fighting for his prey. I just love him. Doran Bazu slay me. As she saw her family, Radha immediately perked up and moved toward them. Oh gosh, don't let her die. Keeping one hand on her stomach, she awkwardly maneuvered between people, trying not to draw too much attention to herself. The fact that you have that hand on your belly is enough attention, girl. Devi couldn't take her eyes off her. Everything inside her tightened with anxiety and fear. Dark Mother, please help her. Radha's face at that moment looked as focused as if she were walking a tightrope over an abyss.
Just a little further.
She had already walked half the way there, however. It didn't go unnoticed. A man started making his way toward Radha, pushing aside everyone in his way. Oh, hell no, bitch. You coming to me? He saw his target and walked toward it, and the young woman didn't even have a chance to hear him approaching in the chaos around her. Quickly catching up to her, he swung his arm over her head. Call out to Radha and help her. Bitch, what are we doing? There was no time to lose. Almost straining her voice, Devi shouted at the top of her lungs. Radha, move! Huh? The young woman's eyes met. Radha hesitated for a second, but still saw the raised fist out of the corner of her eye and instinctively dodged. The man leaned forward, carried by inertia, and nearly fell at her feet. Thanks to you, Radha wasn't hit. Thank you. Radha looked at the man, then at Devi, and at the carnage around her. She had almost died. She could have been hurt. A wave of panic washed over her.
Oh, goddess.
Even though she had managed to buy herself a little time, her attacker was still much stronger. The man guessed the right moment and grabbed her wrist, yanking her sharply toward him. Losing her balance, the young woman fell toward the stone floor. Just before hitting the ground, she managed to slow her fall, outstretching her arms in front of her. Radha scratched her palms, but at least she didn't hit the ground. Shrieking in agony, she turned on her side, pulling her knees up, breathing hard and crying. Her eyes became hazy, as it happens right before fainting, and her lips instantly turned pale. The man stepping toward her, placing his hand on the scabbing hanging from his belt. I'm sorry, why is no one helping her? No help! As Davy rushed toward her friend, the crowd around her suddenly began to disperse. Doran had arrived. Oh my gosh, I love him! In a furious rage, the executioner threw aside anyone who got in his way. To be quite honest, y'all, I get why you all love Doran. Like, Doran, slay me, sir. Slay me so hard. I love him so much. Oh god. Take me over to the dark side, son. In a furious rage, the executioner threw aside anyone who got in his way, whether it was one of his own or a stranger to him. This man said, I'm leaving no stone unturned. DOOBAY was rushing right behind him, ready to slice into anyone who threatened Rada. Oh, now you're showing your balls! Now you're showing your balls! The commotion didn't escape the attacker's attention. He turned toward Doran and prepared to defend himself. He barely had time to draw his blade before he was punished for what he'd done, period. Doran, without any hesitation, grabbed his shoulder and pressed his torso against the man, gritting through his teeth. Period.
Die.
Watch. Watch. That's what will happen, girl. I want to see with my own eyes this man getting the punishment he deserves. The sharp blade of Bazoo's family weapon slashed through the attacker's body. A bloody flower blossomed on his clothes, driving the weapon into him all the way to the hilt. Doran twisted it several times, leaving the man no chance of survival. Thick dark blood started spilling from his mouth. Doran pushed the man away from him and he crashed to the ground, his last breath a death rattle of agony. Meanwhile, Rash was kneeling beside Rada, holding her hand and patting her cheeks lightly, trying not to let her faint. Everyone could see them. He don't care now. He don't care now, but I don't care because that's what you doing. That's what you be doing, bitch.
It's going to be alright.
Rada's eyelids were half closed, and a quiet, racked breathing was the only sound out of her mouth. Doran hurried to her.
Move.
Rash got up and stepped back so as not to get in his way. Doran gently lifted his knees and his arms and rushed to the door. I love Doran. Bless Doran's soul. Like this man kills, like he's a menace, of course, but he has a pure heart, and that's what I like the most. His gaze met Davy's and he hesitated for a moment.
Stay behind me, Davia. Come along with Vidya.
Saraswati? Where is she? He grimaced.
Vidya wanted to go look for her, but I couldn't let her.
Then I'll go. She's out here, all alone somewhere. These men are out of their mind, they think.
I know. Come with me. I'll go back in a moment and I'll find her.
No, it's going to take you too long. I have a weapon. I'll go find Sarah.
Sharma, don't you dare.
What are you gonna do if I dare?
Davy.
What? The woman looked at her, both horror and gratitude in her eyes. Davy pulled the kanda out of its sheath. Period. Don't tell me what to do. There's no time. I don't know what's going on here, but she must be found immediately.
They want you, not her.
They want both of us. They believe we have all betrayed the Dozen and we were led by Vidya.
Useless, cowardly creatures.
Period. Vidya knows the tea. Davy motioned to go back toward the common hall, trying to avoid the people around her. You can't talk me out of this. Doran wasn't going to do that. Oh, he likes the sight of her, huh?
Then do as you must.
Oh, he likes the sight of her. Look at him.
This is India, the beginning of the end. No one can save themselves no matter how hard they try.
Doran's amber eyes flashed with a strange fire. Oh, I love it. Doran turned to Rash.
Let's go. No, don't let anyone come near us.
DOOBAY nodded in agreement. As he was leaving, he noticed Davy and glanced at her, his eyes full of sadness. God damn it, son. I couldn't save her. If Raj is with the Bazoos, then what were the men in the hall talking about? Nothing makes sense. Again, who's behind all this? Who's instigating it?
I'll come find you once I've brought Vidya and Rada to safety.
As Vidya, Raj and Doran carrying Rada left down the hallway, Davia, trying to stay in the shadows, sneaked into the common hall. She really don't know when to save herself, y'all. Oh my god. But as soon as she stepped inside, someone rushed at her. Fight back. Stop the blade with your hand. No, fight back, bitch. Without hesitation, Devi took the khanda from its sheath and blocked the incoming blow. Thanks to Kamal's training in the past, she was able not only to defend herself, but also to confidently push the enemy back. And then she ran away to hide in the crowd. People were rushing from side to side, fighting, screaming, and trying to leave the hall. But Saraswati was nowhere to be seen. Where is my child? The thought that she might have run off to find that maid filled Devi with horror. She remembered how she had felt lately. Sarah must have wanted to deal with that woman, to hit her, to punish, or have someone grab her, if not worse. If she's not with Vidya, then she's not outside either. She would have surely stayed inside to look for her mother and sister. Saraswati is still here, somewhere in this temple, but where exactly? Before she could attract some more unwanted attention, Devya ran to the corridor that linked a series of halls, honoring each of the 10 goddesses. Where is Saraswati? Parvir, Chinamasti, Kali, Tara. I'll check the hall of Kali. The Bazus were considered the many almost direct descendants of the Dark Mother, carrying a drop of Ma Kali's blood. Where could Saraswati be hiding? Who had been calling her lately? Whose voices was driving her insane? If she had decided to take shelter in the hall of the goddess Kali, it would make sense. Your friendship with Saraswati has improved. Okay. Devi headed that way. The hall was almost at the end of the corridor, and she couldn't hear any sounds of fighting coming from there. The closer she got, looking around cautiously, the quieter her surroundings seemed to become. The door was barely ajar. The hall was immersed in half shadows. Saraswati, baby, there is no time to be hiding here. Oh my god, Saraswati. The faint groan of the rusty hinges made Saraswati turn around. She was kneeling in the darkness, one hand on the wall. Not her actually slicing a palm open, leaving drops of blood everywhere on that altar in order to get some answers. Oh my god. Another strip of light fell on the frail silhouette crouched in front of a large colorful mural. Her bright eyes rested on Devya. They were wide open, her gaze feral. The first thing Devi noticed were the red splatters on the floor and wall. They were on Sara too. On her face, her hands, her clothes. Those scarlet stains made Devi more and more anxious. Then a sudden fear. Was Saraswati hurt? But a soft and perfectly calm voice made her panic fade away.
Devi, you came.
Sara, are you here alone?
Yes, I am now.
Saraswati's lips curled in an unnatural pleased smile. Kali was here. The mural depicted the happy, contented deity of wisdom and art, the goddess Saraswati. The mural had no reason to be there. And in the hall belonging to the goddess Kali, Devi blinked her eyes a couple of times, thinking that she might be having some kind of strange vision. Oh God. Oh God. The image suddenly changed, and an enraged Mahakali was looking at them. With an airy smile on her lips, Sara was sitting at her feet. She seemed to be fitting surprisingly well with her surroundings. Her fingers were tense, her hand almost clawing at the wall. Blood was caked under her fingernails, and Devya realized that, in fact, the whole room was covered in it. Next to Saraswati lay a body. At the sight of a familiar Sari, Devi was struck with all the horror of a sudden realization. She had killed her. Everything became instantly clear. Oh no, that's her, isn't it? The maid? Y'all, I feel so... Y'all, I'm scared. I'm scared. Like, I don't want to say I'm scared of Saraswati. But the scenario would freak me the fuck out, yo. I would be leaving, I would be gone. Because like I said, I would never inspire someone to murder someone. That's a no. Like, you can be mad, you can feel hurt, because that's like a normal thing. We all get upset sometimes, we all feel pain, we all can become depressed sometimes. Like, those are normal feelings. Like this bunch of sadness literally piling up inside of us that leads to depression. But it's sadness that leads to depression, okay? And we call it depression because it's like not a moment of sadness, but because of all the horrible things we went through, we keep on only having negative moments in our lives, as in our day turns like sad. Like we don't have like those different kind of emotions a day. We keep on only experiencing sadness. That's what I call depression. And that's what depression is. Saraswati dragged that maid that to a specific degree did harm to her family, etc. She dragged her to the room of Mahakali to sacrifice her, because that's technically what she did. I mean, she wanted to kill her, but y'all, for me, it's more like, you know what creeps me out the most? To know what she was saying in the last episode, before Kali took over her body and spoke through her. She said she has that darkness inside of her. And I did say it's normal to have like those dark moments and everything, but it will pass. And that's like something a lot of people like just get a focus on. Like, if they only experience negativity, they keep on saying, yeah, I only have negativity. Like, that's all I have left. And they don't even try anymore to move past that moment, and they allow all that negativity to turn them into someone they're not. And sometimes people allow that negativity that a lot of bad people inspired inside of them, turn them into a crazy version. Psychopath, y'all. That's what a psychopath is. Right now, Saraswati seems like a psychopath to me, especially with that smile she has on. As in, not having sympathy for having done something morally wrong. Because, like I said, I think life is holy. And as much as I would like to smack some people, because there are a lot of people getting on your nerves and everything, people doing like something that should be punished, etc. Like, I would never condone to violence. I would never condone to actually slap someone, okay? Or like killing them. I would never. Like, of course, I say it, but I would never actually slap someone. It's not my style. If anything, I kill someone with words. That's like my forte. But I could never physically harm someone. Never. That's like where my morals are. And my morals are, you don't touch someone physically. Okay? And her actually killing her, I don't know how to feel about this, but the fact that she's grinning like this and she's like, you came. It is done. I'm finally alone here. As in, this woman next to me was alive the entire time. Now she did, because all this blood, I thought it was from... Oh my gosh. I thought that blood was from Saraswati, that she like cut her palm or something in order to get in contact with Kali. But no, that's like the blood from the maid, and she literally just splashed it all over the wall. So to kind of signify or signalize to Kali that she had committed a sacrifice.
Yes.
Did you kill her? Sarah turned her head slowly and looked at the corpse. All of her movements seemed sluggish. What did I say? Psychopath, y'all?
Yes, it was pleasant. She told me to do it.
She? Kali? Yes.
The Dark Mother.
Saraswati raised an adoring gaze at the Merle, where the goddess stands with her tongue out.
She told me to deal with her and to do whatever I wanted. And I really wanted to kill her.
She's losing her mind. Now I see I call the psychopath.
I know who she served. Which family?
You can tell me later. We have to get out of here now. What have you done? How can I help you? You can't. You can't. As long as she is in that delusion. In order to get someone out of that kind of delusion, out of that psychological trauma, out of that psychological pain, you sadly need to add more pain. And how do you add that? By tagging at someone's weak points. And weak points, I don't mean their body, I mean their hearts. She cares about her family, and I don't want to actually offer someone killing Vidya or like Radha, but the only way to actually knock the shit out of someone when they arrive to that point of pain where they actually turn into a psychopath, where they like say, I don't care about anything or anyone because this is like too much pain inside of me, is in order to actually add more pain. And that would be the only way to smack her out of it. Despite what was happening, Saraswati was still Devia's friend, and that was not going to change. Devia had long been aware of how peculiar the Bazoo's youngest heiress could be, but no one could have imagined she would go that far. Still, more than shouting or distancing herself from her, she only wanted to support her. The maid had been giving them trouble after all. However, considering everything that was happening right at that moment, the maid's death seemed the least of their problems. Devi entered the hall, quickly approached Saraswati and crouched down beside her. We need to leave. Do you know what's going on outside? Sara nodded, her voice drowsy.
Yes, Adia, Mother is calling you.
Huh?
That's what the feeling was. I felt your death.
Gods. Devia helped her up, and Saraswati didn't resist. She couldn't stop looking at the corpse on the floor. No one will think you did this if we run away now. They'll think she was just another victim of the attack. Sarah was silent, letting Devi drag her away. The problem here at this point, I don't think she cares if someone knows that she did it or not. After a few minutes, the young woman managed to get out of the temple. What's going on here? Oh my god.
An attack.
A scene of absolute madness awaited them in a square in front of the temple. Nothing remained of the joy of celebration. Vendors had abandoned their carts, dancers had taken refuge in the nearest corners and alleys, and the people who were out in the streets had panicked and tried to run away. Many were screaming in terror, scattered around, trying not to get in the way of those who were brandishing weapons. Not everyone had managed to. No, not this. It's happening all over again. The scene before her eyes blurred together with visions of that terrible night when the residents in the Himalayas had burned down the night Kairas died. What had been foretold was coming true. Her heart sank despair. Oh God, this choice will improve your friendly or romantic relationship. Okay, her heart sank in despair. Devia suddenly thought of Kamal, Sarah, Ram, Christian. God damn it. Ram, Christian, and I feel like I'm doing myself dirty by doing this, but to be quite honest, I just saw Ram, and I feel like, considering the fact he's kind of like the goddess's favorite, he's not gonna die. But Sarah is right next to me. Like, I can see her, but I would say, where is he? Like, didn't he want to be here? Where is Christian? Why am I thinking about the one who might be behind all of this? A girl you don't know. She remembered his impenetrable expression, his dignified attitude, his thoughtfulness, his manners. The first meeting and then the one 5 years later. No, he couldn't be. Suddenly, Vidya's plans for the Governor-General came to her mind. What if same thing is happening at his residence right now? Goosebumps ran down her spine. She hated to admit it, even to herself, but she didn't really wish him any harm. Thank you. Like, we don't want anyone dead, y'all. We are nice people. We don't want anyone dead. And I think it's good that I picked this choice because, forget it. I don't want Christian dead. He's a good guy. And he deserves love, and he deserves to be respected. But like I said, he wouldn't be my first choice. And I know a lot of people in my comment section like have a problem with that, but it's a fact. Like, I would be choosing Ram, and right now I'm also deciding if I should choose Doran. Just because I just love it. He's giving me the good type of sugar daddy vibes. She hoped nothing had happened to him. Christian isn't capable of what the Dozen accuse him of. Yes, I haven't known him for very long, and certainly not as well as I would have liked before marrying him, but I just know. I can feel it deep inside. That's all I have. Your relationship with Christian has improved, thank you. In the meantime, she was looking through the crowd for familiar faces. She needed to save herself, but not before she could find someone loyal and she could entrust Saraswati to. It was just as unsafe to stay near the temple as it was in the heart of the massacre, but she had no choice right then. Devi noticed Arat trying to make his way inside the temple. Surely enough, he was trying to find her. Arat! Arat!
Miss Sharma.
He instantly turned around upon hearing her voice and attacked and took advantage of the precise moment. But he was too slow. Oh, okay. With a mighty roar, Amrit jumped at the unknown man, period. Fetch, my bitch. Fetch! Oh, I love Amrit. Amrit is getting a treat tonight. The tiger saved Arat's life, and then after tearing the enemy apart with his claws, perked up his ears and turned to his mistress. Damn, son. But to be quite honest, yes, son, you're getting a treat. Shortly after Arat managed to get to the two women, and they felt much calmer and safer with him there, Ahmed rubbed his nose in his mistress' hand, and Devia looked fondly at her pet. You're getting a treat tonight, my darling. You're getting a treat tonight.
We need to get you out of here.
Where's Mother, Radha, and Uncle Doran?
What did I say? That's how you snap her out of it.
Mr. Bazoo has taken both women away. I'll help you. We're too exposed here.
Devi figured out a relatively safe route along empty market stalls. It was a good place to hide without attracting too much attention. They moved cautiously through the square, looking at the people fighting. Everything felt so confusing. I can't figure out who is behind this. Last time during the massacre at the residence, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that the attacker were British. But today? Indians in Western clothes seem to be fighting Westerns in Indian clothes. Was this all planned by the Lord's back? Was this all planned behind the Lord's back? Like my theory is coming back to life. Like the British didn't want there to be a union between England and India. So they're like, no, we need to get rid of her. After all, he still hasn't told me anything about the traitor. Or maybe he hasn't had the time yet? This is not as simple as it might seem. If Christian is out here, if he's still alive, then I should find him. Especially since what has been foretold cannot come true without him. I am meant to die when the engagement is confirmed, and that will only happen if the Claire finds the traitor. He probably has something to tell me. She looked disdainfully at two dying attackers lumped against the market stall. I just love it so much. Damasura! It will all come back to bite. Spit at their feet. Oh, y'all, everything is just, you know what? Spit at their feet. You can't do more harm than that. Unable to find the right words to express her disgust, Davy forgot her manners completely. Beasts. Suddenly she saw a small awning under which they could catch their breath a bit and decided exactly where to go next. Do you see that awning?
Yes.
Let's get there while we have the chance. Arat nodded and led Saraswati first. Devi at least had some fighting skills in her kanda, so she followed. They didn't have a long distance to cover, however. Oh. Suddenly, from somewhere to the side, a whole crowd ran out at her. People were fighting each other, their faces and clothes already drenched in blood. Without any real weapons, they seemed to have fashioned some, using whatever they had managed to find in the general commotion. Devi found herself disoriented. No one was paying attention not to hurt innocent bystanders, obviously thinking it was no longer their problem. But it was Devia's problem. A man right in front of her was preparing to swing a makeshift baton at someone, and Devi nearly got caught in the middle of it.
Miss Sharma.
Take care of Sarah, I'll be fine. The man swung the baton behind his back, preparing to hit on his right side. Ducked left? Guessing the tragedy of the blow, Devi stepped away in the opposite direction. Hey! Kamal's lessons hadn't been in vain. Her muscle memory still knew how to react to certain attacks. I need to observe my opponent's body and anticipate their actions. Well, or my opponent's baton in this case, but the point is the same. Devi quickly stepped as far away as possible from the crowd. Finding herself at a safe distance in some corner, she tried to gather her strength and thoughts. This is madness. Them asuras, not humans. I've got separated from the others. Now what? Oh, who is that? A woman was rushing toward her, and Devi recognized her immediately. Amrita! When she arrived next to her, Devya noticed that her breathing had gotten pretty racked. Amrita took both her hands in hers and exclaimed, her tone relieved. I have been looking for you. The men asked me to gather all the women of the dozen and take cover, but you were nowhere to be found. They want the woman to take cover, but send a woman right in the middle of this massacre to look for them? That's a good one. Are these the same men who tried to kill me? Kill you? Everyone is looking for you. Come with me. Raj has shown me a safe place. Well, relatively safe. Devi scrunched up her nose at that idea. I'm going to stay. I need to be here to figure something out. Our man can handle this. Don't be foolish. This is necessary. What's necessary? Devi ignored the questions, just squeezing Amrita's hands in her own. Amrita's small palms were trembling. In the distance, she suddenly saw two men fighting, Doran and Kamal. Oh, I just love it. I love it. I'm glad that they're all right. Both of them were taking down their attackers almost too easily, as if they weren't even trying. And they are menaces. Don't mess with them. They will cut you. They moved flawlessly, anticipating their every move, deftly wielding their khandas. It was like watching a mesmerizing deadly dance. Kamal moved carefully but confidently, every gesture honored by years of training. Doran, on the other hand, was plainly insolent, knowing they couldn't handle it. He says, I'm just too hard. The executioner is being the executioner, period. I wonder if they were just as unbothered when they were younger, or if they fight like this now, that the impulsiveness of their earlier years has been softened by time. It's impressive. Devi looked around. It was no longer possible to stay there. The pungent smell of burning and bleeding corpses hit her nose. It smelled like death. It seems like it was never going to end. Suddenly, Devi noticed some peculiar commotion coming from one of the side entrances into the square. Some of the men who had been fighting seemed to be running away from there. What? Who's there? Her attention was drawn to a group of British officers whose uniforms stood out against those who were already here. Those are the classmen. But where is he? The governor's general guards were not mere defenders of order, but a real military force. The officers initially seemed to choose to intervene without using their weapons, but soon they began to be drawn into the conflict by the fighting happening all around them. One by one, they were getting wounded. When it became clear that nothing could be achieved without violence, they started using the most brutal methods. Someone attacked an officer. It was an instant death sentence. Looking from the outside, Devi came to a conclusion that terrified her. Among those fighting, it didn't matter who was a local and who was a foreigner. Indian or British, they may have been different in their culture, appearance, or upbringing, but deep down they were all the same. Humans. All of you are cruel, bloodthirsty beasts who know nothing about humanity. I need to see Christian. Now. She took a chance and left her little hideout, since Devi knew where she could find him at that moment. He alive! Christian!
Devya.
From across the square, Lord de Clare, who had arrived with his men, turned around upon hearing her voice. Y'all, if you know how happy I am that he's here.
I found them. You need to hide somewhere.
The Governor General was obviously talking about the person who betrayed them. Christian didn't hesitate and, accompanied by several officers, hurried toward Devi. The young woman was about to smile when suddenly... No!
You won't get away.
Huh? A sharp, terrible pain flared up somewhere near her stomach. Great! Devya staggered, realizing at once how serious and deep that wound was. A headache suddenly gripped her head. Amrit growled and tried to lunge at Mr. Dixit, but the man had his weapon at the ready. Oh, hell no!
Go ahead. We'll deal with you too.
Oh, God. Yeah.
No.
Not having it. Devi. From her hiding place, Saraswati also watched in horror, unblinking. Great. No. Oh no, Sarah!
Sharma.
Devi could barely stay on her feet, clutching her wound as blood continued to pour out of it. The horizon beyond the temples flashed with scarlet flames. Y'all, I died. Alright. Everything around her began to sway and grow darker. Her headache, like a thick stream, began to spread pain throughout her body, filling Davy completely. I'm dying, y'all. Something seemed to hit her left eye, so she squeezed them both shut, overwhelmed by a burning sensation, and she began to cough, long and hard, staggering. She held one hand over her eye. Mr. Dixit was watching her with an overjoyed expression. Can someone just end him? Somehow, after all, he had just killed Miss Sharma, just as he was ordered. The noise and chaos began to quiet down, to blurry away. It was as if Davy was left alone, and the voice she had heard with Ram in the hall came again to her, from somewhere near, very far, from somewhere near, very near. What is going on? Ma'am, I did not need to die for this bullshit. What is going on? Did my left eye just... Oh my gosh, what is this? Y'all, it looks so beautiful. I was about to say, did one eye just sparkle? Did one eye glow? Like Ram's? Oh my gosh. What does that even mean, y'all? Oh my god. The closer death approached her, the closer was the goddess Kali herself. Devi's life force was rapidly waning, but thanks to it, something else was filled her instead. Something unfamiliar and dark, awakening some other Devi within her. It was getting hard for her to stand and breathe, but at the same time, the Dark Mother's voice sounded clearer, like she was getting closer in every way. She was all around her, she was the whole world, and she was inside Devi too, filling her with her power and her darkness. Without really knowing what she was doing, Devi swung her weapon and took Mr. Dixie's life with one sharp blow. Thank you. Bye, you little motherfucking bitch.
Was right, she killed a member of the dozen. She's the traitor.
You're the traitor. He killed me. The man ran toward her to finish what Mr. Dixit started, but the executioner got there first at lightning speed and killed him on the spot with a heavy blow. I just love it. Kill delusional people. Bye, bitch. Oh, I love him.
Devi.
Through the crowd and the battle, which was gradually winding down, the Governor-General made his way to the young woman. What was foretold had come true. He had found the traitor. Even if he had no time to tell her, that meant that the engagement was confirmed, and with it, Devi Sharma's fate had also taken its course. His cool hands caught Devi just as she lost her balance. He gently lowered her onto his lap as she died. No one but the seers and the young woman herself heard the Dark Mother's laughter, nor the words she spoke.
I always take what's mine.
A few moments later, Devi Sharma died in Lotekle's arms. Great. Y'all, what does that even mean? That means I will have no next season because I'm dead. But to be quite honest, I love that one of my friends in my lovely comment section was wrong, because she was like, it could be possible that Lotekle dies, and he didn't. So he alive. Yes. So that means that the choices I made managed to save him still. Because he didn't die. He's still here with us. Okay, I'm so excited. No, the story is too much. I love it. I love it so much. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video with me. Tell me in the comments below what you think was best, and I will see you in another video. Bye.